summaries, I think it would be a little bit of repetition on some points, but the three main themes on the chapter is about evolution of how bottom-up process and top-bottom process came into being. And then another one is risks of evolving the process at the wrong time. And then the third one is how we can control both the processes so that such risks will not come again. So the first one is the evolution. So how did we? So when we talk about evolution, we always think about how we survived, like millions of years ago. So the most surviving still is like many millions of years ago we were hunters, right? So we are either the hunter or the hunted. So we have to always be alert. So the surviving skills would be reflexive, quick acting. So such quick acting bottom-up process help us in short-term thinking, whether to go front or whether to back down. And then it should be impulsive and take speedy decisions. So that way we survive it. So in the sense that bottom-up process help us survive better millions of years ago. And then comes the Homo sapiens, like the wise men. So few hundreds of thousands of years ago, people start thinking more and more. So top-down wiring adds self-awareness and deliberation and planning, and much later. So these are much later additions to our evolution. So I wondered whether that we would tell it as a thriving skill. So I would tell the top-down process as a survival skill and bottom-up process as a thriving skill as we evolved. And then another one is about the risk of, we have this phrase of being there at the wrong time at the wrong place, right? So it is similar. So I think whether the bottom-up, sometimes because bottom-up process are impulsive, so and listens more to our hearts, so we spend where we don't need to, and then because of that we have some addictions, and then reckless speaking, and sometimes maybe like eating where we are not allowed, like not where we should not be eating, and then regretting it later, right? So these are some of the screw-ups by the bottom-up process that helped us before when we were for our survival, but now it is doing a little bit of things where we don't want it. And then about the top-down, or whether it is pulling us down. So this is my question. This top-down process. So is as mentioned before, one of it is the overthinking. So with that, I want to tell a little bit of my story. So does anyone knows what cricket is? Because I love playing cricket. So and I usually play in the top order batsman, and then I'm usually the defensive player. So I have to stick on my place, like guard one place. And then sometimes it comes into a situation where you have to attack, but then we have not many wickets left. So I was sometimes when I bat, I think like whether I should attack or whether I should defend. So when the ball comes, I just half-heartedly attack, half-heartedly defend, and then I get out. And after I get out, I would say this stupid thinking brain, because I have been thinking two different things at the same time, and then because of that, that's I think one of the problem of top-down thinking. When I should think instinctively, without thinking, but then with overthinking, I get out, and that's one problem in the sports. And then in exams, we were usually told we should read it again after we complete our exam. We should go through it again. So because the reason I think would be if we don't do that because of our nervousness, we think we write where we should not write. We write something where we should not write. Right? So this is I think some of the top-down thinking. And then another one is overloading attention. I think all of you have experienced that. When we think a lot, we get tired. Have you? Maybe. Thank you for nodding, because if I didn't see anyone nodding, I thought it was only me. So overload attention, because top-down thinking takes a lot of energy, so we get tired more often. So overloading attention is so like immersed in digital distraction. It's not just studying, but also with digital distraction, we think a lot. So because of that, it creates a near constant cognitive overload, and then that overload wears out self-control. And then because it wears out self-control, sometimes top-down process make us eat more, and because we have to control ourselves, but then because of that cognitive overload, it wears out our self-control, and then we become sometimes overweight. So these are some of the problems or risks that we have with those processing if we are not careful. And then there's also another one which we should control. Now, how we should control it, I think you should say.